Well, they always say, if you have a problem within your organization, bring it up in front of 30,000 people.
Hit it up. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Derek.
How you doing?
Doing great. Why don't you tell us a little bit what you're browsing through right now?
One of those magazines I brought Mark last week, he handed to me, and I'm actually laughing quite a bit. It's pretty funny to read through. Thinking about ordering some T-shirts.
Right.
86.
Well, for any people out there that bought Metal Edge magazine back in late 80s, early 90s, there was a section in a magazine called Metal Wire where they'd have like Rock on the Rise, up-and-coming bands. And there's a band right here I'm looking at. It's got to be the worst band name in the history of band names. You ready for this one?
Sinister Kane.
Oh, no. All right, second worst band name in the history. Harpo. This band is Harpo. And it's Jeff, John, Bill, and Michael. And they look just like Gene, Henrik, Jack, and Paul from Dirty Looks. Or are they, who is this band? Anna Black with Jesse, Davey, Mick, Dixie, and Ricky. What about Presence Neil? That's the name of the band. Presence Neil.
We were in a time of some pretty funny stuff. Looking back,
Oh my
I mean,
God.
there was some very cool, innovative,
Yeah, mixed
music
in.
coming out of that time.
Mixed in with the bunch. But everybody in this magazine looks like Nikki Sixx and Vince Neil. That's it.
So that must be before.
Oh, this is
That's
1989, so of course
Oh, I
that's
was going to say.
the high point of Motley Crue, right? Dr. Feelgood.
But usually after that was Guns. Everyone started to look like Guns. You
Well,
know?
some of these guys, well, not a lot in this one. They're all looking pretty glammed out. It's the Motley Crue, Slaughter, Poison.
All I know is on the cover here, Skid Row breaks big. How it all began, the full report.
Well, we all know how it began. Bon Jovi helped them.
Yeah. And then you can get the lyrics to 18 in Life. Isn't that funny? Today you just Google 18 in Life or
Well, you think about it back then.
Name a new band and you could just Google it. And
Right. Back then, if they didn't put the lyrics in the liner notes, you didn't know all the lyrics.
Oh, I sang many cover tunes not knowing
and just
the lyrics.
make up your own word.
Oh, yeah. Just as long as it sounded like it.
Right. I mean, back then there was no technology, as far as that was concerned.
I'm trying to think of one that maybe today that I know what the lyrics are. And it's like, I never sang it that way.
Oh, here's a huge band that made it out of Metal Wire. Shame. Shame.
If they're real names, it would be great to try to look up and see what the hell they're doing today.
How about Damn Cheetah?
You know what they're probably doing? They probably have a podcast.
Yeah. The Hunger.
The Hunger.
Oh, my God.
What? So, you know what I thought of today, though? Or maybe it was yesterday. And I was like, I got to ask Mark. I thought of a couple things. I was like, I got to ask Mark what you remember. And then I reached out to someone the other day, too, and said, how did I meet you? Like, I didn't even remember how I met them. And they didn't really remember either. We probably met in a bar somehow. But you remember, I'll say this, hey, where are the hi-hats? Do you
In the
remember
river.
that? No.
What?
No.
Oh, the ones I threw out of the band room down into the river? Remember?
No. You remember?
Oh, the ones I was standing on.
What was that? That was like
that was a...
like a no bozo gig?
There was one of those benefit kind of type shows at, the local bar, club in town. And I brought my drums, and I was going to bring my cymbals
You
down.
brought your shittiest
So
cymbals.
I brought my broken crack cymbals that we use in rehearsal because I didn't want, 10 drummers coming down and beating the shit out of my good cymbals. So I brought a bunch of junky ones down there, which I don't think anybody was probably pleased with. But when you had no money back then.
Yeah. From what I remember, though, you were setting up the kit, and you were like, where are the hi-hats? And I was standing
You
on
were
them
standing
going,
on
I don't know, where are they?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the old band room where I threw them out. Remember, they had some broken ones.
I think that was after, yeah.
We threw them out the window. There was a river that ran by the.
But then we got them, pulled them out of the river.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh my
That was
God.
funny. And then I was trying to think how I met, like our first meeting.
I think.
It came back to me, and you say what you think, and I'll see if we.
Well, I think obviously, considering the year, which was probably 1991-ish.
No, I wasn't back from California then. It was like end of 92.
It was the fall, winter of 91. It was like the end of the year. And Mike and I were looking for a singer. But back then, we had to put an ad up in the music store.
But I didn't go that way. Do you remember how I was introduced to you?
Because that's how Mike and I were doing it. We were putting ads up in the stores, and you put down the bottom, you put the phone number in the contact, and then you cut each one at the bottom so you can tear it off and then call
Like
it.
a lost dog type of thing.
But we didn't do that with you?
No. You know who introduced me to you guys?
Who was it?
Romeo.
Oh, Romeo Dubois.
Yeah.
That's
but
right.
I don't remember. So
I knew Romeo.
Yeah. No, so I sang with him and those guys for a little bit, and then it wasn't working.
Oh.
But then I texted Romeo this week, and I'm like, how did you and I meet? And he's like, he doesn't remember, I don't remember, but
Well, it was only 30 years.
I just don't know.
You don't remember that?
I went and saw him recently, though, play. It was awesome.
He was a good drummer.
He still is.
Yeah.
It was awesome. He's playing with Paul from Gracie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where'd you see him?
Down in Newburyport.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Lisa and I went.
Oh, you should call. I'd love to go see him
Well,
and meet up again,
next time. Yeah, it was
fun.
funny. Yeah, we had a good time. But I don't remember. So I remember going to Mike's apartment on Bridge Street.
Well, I remember that, but
And
not Bridge Street.
Yes.
I'm
It was right off the exit. Right off the exit. I took a right and went up to those apartments on the right.
Oh, yeah. On Mammoth Road.
Mammoth Road.
Yeah.
And then I played you guys my demo, and then at
We brought you down to the band room.
Not that night, though.
Oh, we didn't?
No, because you gave me a song or something to learn. And I went down to the band room in someone's basement. I don't know.
That was...
You don't have to say the full names, just in case.
Jeez, I don't remember his first name. I remember his last name.
Oh, yeah.
But he had...
Andy.
Andy Wenzel.
There you go.
Yeah, we said it. Andy Wenzel. Yeah, he let... I don't know how we knew him, but he had an apartment in Manchester. Yeah, he let us play down there, and it was just Mike and I. I think Monfett was still in it at that point.
Oh, yeah. But I remember going there and jamming some songs. And then it must have been a weekend or something. Mike was having a party after. We went back.
Back up the Mammoth Road.
Yep.
Yep.
I must have went somewhere or something, and then I came back and met. You were there with Custo.
Yeah. Well, I think what happened at that band room was we played you 2 or 3 songs live. We just played them for you. There was no vocals.
Yeah.
I think that was it. We just said, well, let's listen to these songs without vocals, and
So that was funny. No,
just so you had an idea of what our sound was,
I was just thinking, this this week. I was like, how the hell did we even meet? So
I
Going
forgot
back-
Romeo
going back
had
in time.
a part in that. I
Yeah.
didn't. I remember that. Yeah.
his band was Big Circus, wasn't
Big
it?
Circus, yeah. Vinny on vocals.
Well, they went out to Arizona for some gigs, and he never came back. And that's when I came over there. And I was singing
Oh,
for a
Vinny
little
didn't
bit.
come
Yeah.
back. Oh, so did you audition for Big Circus?
I don't even know if it was an audition or what, but we were playing a little bit, and then either Vinny came back or they told me to get the fuck out or something.
Yeah, I'm going with the latter. Wow, that's a good story. I did
Now,
not remember how
Mike
that
may
all-
have more insight to that, but that's what I remember.
Yeah.
I had something else here I wanted to share. You remember the classic photo of Eddie and Dave?
Which one?
I know. Outside of McDonald's.
Yeah, they're doing something with that.
Well, there's a McDonald's there, and they put a huge poster.
How cool is
It's
that?
pretty cool. It looks awesome. It's right on the wall.
How freaking cool is
Yeah.
that?
It's pretty wild. So I saw that headline.
To do a band like that, if it was like Michael Jackson or Bruce Springsteen, it's like, okay, it's a no-brainer. But Van Halen is almost like, wow, that's kind of sticking your neck out a little bit to put in a...
So yeah, no, I thought that was cool for them to put that up there. The other thing I sent you, that Rival Sons new tune, Nobody Wants to Die.
Who was it by?
Rival Sons.
Oh,
It's so good. And that
Love it.
video is like a 70, remind me like of Sabotage. Sabotage? What's that?
Sabotage from...
Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same kind of concept, kind of
But
old
great
school,
song.
70s, Clint Eastwood kind of...
Yeah.
What are the movies?
Dirty
he made?
Harry
Dirty
stuff,
Harry
yeah.
kind of thing.
But it's I just found a YouTube video of them playing it live at some little club for like industry people, and it's so good.
Yeah, I mean that band is
Mark and I saw them live. God, it's got to be like
a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
3.5 years ago. So, but they was so good. Mike's having a sandwich right now. I mean, not Mike, Mark.
Huh?
Mark's having a little sandwich.
This is like a
Any good?
tuna melt on steroids. Thing's ridiculous. Yeah,
Well, good.
that band's great. That band is what, if you're going to play hard rock in 2022 and be relevant, that's the way you do it.
Mm,
That's the way I look at those guys.
they're so good.
They found a way to take rock, which is almost a dying breed now, and make it relevant. You got to shift gears. You know what I mean? And I think they, they do that well.
Yep. So Karabi, John,
Yeah,
Mr. John, Sir John,
love them.
he released this Spotify playlist, and I think it's called Krabby's Classics.
Yeah.
And so it was funny. It's actually a really good playlist, and so I saved it into my Spotify account. But someone chimed in and asked, he has some songs on there from Union, from
The Scream.
nothing from the Scream, but he has what's the Dead Daisies he has on there.
Yep.
But someone chimed in and goes, I can't believe you didn't put anything from Motley 94 on this.
Yeah, they could
Yeah.
be.
And so I wrote in, I go, because I listened to the playlist, I wrote, he did put something from 94. Hammered. I mean, Mountain. Never in my life. Have you ever heard Mountain?
No,
Never in
why
My-
is it
Oh my
total?
God, it's just such a rip-off, the riff. And Krabby responded, and he wrote, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were going to say Nikki put the kibosh on it.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. But I never knew that Hammered was a total ripoff of,
Oh, you know what? I think you told me that, and I listened to it, and it was like, oh my god.
yeah,
Yeah.
such a riff.
Well, I mean, you get influences from everywhere, and sometimes you get you
Don't even know.
don't even know you took it for something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like that time you played the Levy Breaks drum part, and you were like, hey, can you write something to this? Sounds kind of, no.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you got? Anything besides the tuna sandwich?
It's delicious.
I think we're in a restaurant.
I know.
Hey, how do you consume this music that we are listening to?
What do you mean?
Like, how do you go and listen to it?
YouTube.
I was just curious about
I
it.
bring them up there. Just bring up full album. I go through them. A lot of some of these we know, but you got to listen to those deep cuts and B-sides.
Yeah,
and, refresh your memory on a lot of it.
Yep. Well, we can talk after about some. I have a solution for you if you want.
I could do a little shout out to a friend of mine, Chris Moody. He was an old.
Hey, Chris.
When I moved over where I live now a few years ago, but I used to be a neighbor of his across the street, and he sent me a text last week with a link to a story about Eddie Van Halen collaborating with Chris Cornell, and they actually recorded some material.
Really?
At 5150. I think it was with Chris's guitar player, and they were writing songs and recording songs and doing stuff, and then going back to Chris with it. And I guess it never, went anywhere, but it was just, I guess Chris Cornell was a big Eddie Van Halen fan, which I never knew.
Yeah.
And I guess the plan was to actually write an album with them. So I thought that was interesting because I didn't see that anywhere that they had ever done anything like that. Because they're from two different genres and two different, times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I find it kind of interesting when guys from, the 90s grunge scene are influenced by a lot of these guys from the 80s because a lot of grunge was a pushback on that kind of music that was coming out in those days.
But you can't deny.
But I mean, Eddie's Eddie. I mean, if you don't love Eddie Van Halen, I don't care what era you come from, what kind of genre of music you play. He's the...
Yeah. No, you just reminded me. I saw a video came across my feed for John Mayer doing Panama.
Mm-hmm.
Horrendous.
Horrendous?
I just thought
and he's a great guitar player.
But I just thought, like, hearing Wolfie play Panama at the tributes, it's like, that's the way it's played.
Yeah, but that's Eddie.
I know.
That's an extension of Eddie.
It was. I didn't get through it. I was like, he's like improvising on a masterpiece, and I was like, nah.
Did you ever see Brad Paisley playing Hot for Teacher?
No.
Live, and he brought some young drummer up. The kid was like 10. But he was...
Killed it.
Yeah, and they called him up. The kid got behind the kit, and he had like his own separate kit up on the stage. And him and Brad and the bass player, whatever, ripped through Hot for Teacher. I mean, Brad's another great guitar player. I mean, obviously, he's a country guy, but...
So speaking of
Really
Eddie
good.
and recording, do you know if, and I haven't even looked this up, but it keeps popping in my head, and it pops up into my head at times where I don't even look it up. Does Wolfie do all his recording there?
At 5150?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't even know what's
Because he
going on with
posted
that now.
pictures and all, him doing the album, and I was like, I wonder if he records all that there.
Well, the question is, too, under normal circumstances, when husband and wife divorce, the wife stays in the house, the guy got to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened with Valerie and Eddie, considering 5150's there, when he divorced her?
I'm sure she
who
took
stayed there?
I'm sure she took one of her other houses.
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
I'm sure it wasn't that hard for her to find.
But matter, she said, I'm keeping a house, you're out of here.
Yeah, I don't know if it... Yeah, I think they ended pretty good.
Well, the other thing, too, is I guess there's like 25 to 30 years of just 80 recordings just sitting in like a vault.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a video out there. I forget it. Who's one of the news guys used to be on MTV.
Kurt Loder?
It wasn't Kurt. It was one of the other guys. He does this like behind.
Alan.
No.
What was his name?
I can't think of his name. But he does this like tour of 5150, and they're in this room, and you could just Google tour of 5150, and they're in this room, and his tapes 40 feet high.
That's what I'm saying. These guys got like
there's a vault, and
decades of music.
They're talking about no one can go through it other than Ed because no one knows what's what or what's good. Well, this was back when he was still alive, so he was like, no one can go through this but me. Like, how is Johnny gonna know if this is any good? So,
well, I remember they had an interview at Wolfgang, and it was right when Eddie died. Wolfgang's like, it's just not time yet for that, you know. But who knows? I mean,
yeah,
he may want to go in there and start seeing what's on that stuff.
He said, I think he said he went through it at one point and found Right Now, the song, and he wrote it well before 1984.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is amazing because when you listen to the song, you're like, that song sounds like a song that was written in the early 90s. Like it wouldn't even fit back in those days.
Well, that's just it, though. He probably wrote it, said this doesn't fit anything we're doing.
Yeah.
No. He wrote it back in 83 and said this doesn't fit on Diver Down or 1984 and just shelved it.
Yeah.
And then one point he's like, maybe Sammy could sing something to it. I would assume that's the way it happened.
Well, yeah, he probably.
I mean, if I wrote it, that's what I would have done.
He probably had a vocal idea in his head. He's like, Dave probably can't sing what I have envisioned for this song.
Right.
So he, canned it. And then once Sammy came, he's like, oh, let me go revisit some of that stuff that Dave couldn't do,
Yep. So what do you got? Anything?
Nope.
All right. Cool. Let's see. I know. One other thing.
Yeah.
This guy at work, God, it must have been like 3 years ago. I went over to his desk and he had headphones on. And I was like, what are you listening to? And he was an 80s guy and he was listening to something. And he goes, I've been on this kick of picking a band a week and taking their first album, listening to it in its entirety, and just going to the second album, listening to it in its entirety, third album.
Yeah.
And he goes all the way through their catalog. So I started doing that every now and then. It's and after hearing one of these albums that we're going to talk about tonight, I was going to do that. I'm like, I wonder if I should go back through their whole catalog, just because I never.
Yeah.
But
just to see how they evolve as a band.
Yeah, that's what's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of This Week in Rock history things. In 1998, during a gig opening up for the Rolling Stones, Axl Rose announces on the stage, unless certain people in this band get their shit together, these will be the last Guns N' Roses show you'll ever fucking see.
He's an asshole.
I'm tired of too many people in this organization dancing with Mr. Brownstone.
Well, they always say, if you have a problem within your organization, bring it up in front of 30,000 people. That's the smartest move to do. It's great for the band. It's great for the label. It's just like,
good morale.
He's a douchebag. I know.
I just thought it was so funny. So that was 98. And then this week in 1977.
77.
Yeah. I know it's out of the 80s, but...
Leonard Skinner.
Exactly.
I knew it.
Yep.
One more for the road?
Have you... No, but have you watched the documentary If I Leave Here Tomorrow?
I have not.
Watch it. Netflix. Write it down. It is so good.
I will write that down.
Talks about their beginnings, how they...
That's not one of those MTV...
No. This is really well done.
What's it called?
If I Leave Here Tomorrow. And they go over, like, how they used to just rehearse out in this shed in the middle of a field and work on songs, and
They were a great band.
it was really, really
They were
cool.
a great
Yeah.
band. You know what's funny about them too? One of their biggest hits, if not their biggest hit, is Sweet Home Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
They're from Florida.
Yes, but they wrote that to counter Neil Young's.
Yeah, but why Alabama? How about Sweet Home Florida?
I think
I
Alabama.
guess it doesn't have the
No,
same.
doesn't
Same
ring
impact.
the same. No,
All right. Never mind.
I mean, why Panama instead of Venezuela?
Good question.
Why Hartford teacher instead?
Columbia. Columbia.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that was named after his car.
Yeah. So he says.
Well, yeah. What do you ever believe in, Dave?
That radio show was horrible. Did you ever listen to any of that? When he
Well,
tried to take
when he
over.
took over for Howard?
Yeah.
It was
Well, let's be clear. He didn't take over.
No, it was supposed to be a whole different, show.
Mhm.
It wasn't supposed to be like Howard left and it's now the Howard Stern show featuring David Lee Roth. And I think that's what people were starting to say, compare.
Mhm.
And he's even like, I'm not taking over the Howard Stern show.
Right.
The Howard Stern show's moving and it's my
This
show.
is my show. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is with him is he's very intellectual. He's very smart. And a lot of people don't understand what he's saying. But most of it makes sense.
Yeah.
He has a high IQ.
He's a buffoon.
Yeah. Well, he is.
Did you hear what he said?
He is, but
Did you hear what he said at the recently? I don't know if it was TMZ or someone. I don't think it was TMZ actually. I think it was a regular news station. Caught him at LAX, and they went up and interviewed him about his Vegas shows that he was canceling them. And they said, "What do you think about putting together a tribute for Eddie?" And he goes, "Tribute for Eddie? What about a tribute for me? I wrote a lot of those songs too, you know."
oh my
Like,
God. Talk about missing a point.
Dude.
Well,
So,
well, and I think that was the problem with him and Eddie throughout their career. They're just two polar opposite personalities,
yeah.
that, just couldn't, made it work. I mean, they did how many? 6 albums,
Oh yeah,
but
not a bad one in there.
no, I mean, we sit there and we watch the videos and we hear the songs and like everything's great, party rock. Nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes,
Yeah.
And not the only band. It's most bands,
Look at us.
Yeah, look at us.
All
Well,
right.
I don't think we ever had that problem. We never had ego problems with our band back then. I think it was just the times changed and we didn't know
Yeah.
what direction.
We had
to
a
go.
window of about 6 months
Yeah,
to
it's
make
like,
things.
okay, what are we supposed to do? Hey, Derek, take off that cut-off T-shirt, put a flannel on. I got some Doc Martin boots in the closet for you. It's almost felt like I don't want to do this because I feel like I need to do this to have a career in music. You know what I mean? So I was almost resentful of it because I felt like a sellout. Like, okay, I come from this era. This is what we look like, and I'm going to change my whole,
Pantera did it.
Yeah, but they did it before.
Alice
before
did
it
it.
changed.
You ever seen the old photos of Alice?
Yeah, I know. I just didn't feel like I was being honest.
Yeah,
to
no,
myself.
I totally get it. And then there was Grill 93.
Well, I thought, the late nights and all that. But I didn't mind that if I felt like it was
Going.
going somewhere.
I started to mind it.
Because it wasn't going anywhere.
Maybe I was looking ahead and saying,
Yeah. Well, we didn't realize when we put that band together and recorded that demo, and we had a pretty good following, but we didn't realize what was on the horizon.
No.
It was coming, and we didn't even know it was coming across because it started on the West Coast. So everything comes later. So 92, if you were on the East Coast, it was still hard rock like we were accustomed to. But if you were in 1992 and lived in L.A. and lived in Seattle, lived on that side, they were already there.
Mm-hmm.
It just hadn't made its way all the way over yet,
Yep.
So,
All right. How's your sandwich? Good? Almost done?
sibilance.
So we got 3 albums.
We got 3 albums
I
today.
think the 3 albums was good. We were wondering if it was going to be 3 albums or 2 albums.
Yep.
I think we fly through the albums pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Good pace. So we've got 3. I think last week we didn't announce the 3. We just started with one of them, and right?
Yes, let's do that.
All right. Well, I'll let you pick who you want to.
Well,
We
let's
didn't. We
go
didn't
what I
talk.
got
We didn't
first
talk
here.
about it.
So first on the list for tonight is Whitesnake, Saints and Sinners.
Oh boy. Here's a song for you.
Which, hey, I'm a big Coverdale fan.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big John Sykes fan.
He wasn't on that album though.
He's not on that.
No.
This is before him.
Yeah.
Uh,
But no, covered. So I think I mentioned last week, like singers, you get me looped in if it's bluesy, raspy sounding, and then I'm totally interested, and that's what he.
and that's what that band, especially in the early days.
Oh yeah. So this album was released in November. Oh, so we're taking liberty here. I think we only had one album that was in October. Yeah, we did. We had one album in October. So this one we took liberties and grabbed it. It was released in November of '82.
Mm-hmm.
And what I read up, it sounded like they couldn't finish this album. There was a lot of turmoil in the band. And I don't even know who the members were. I didn't write it down or anything. But,
Wow.
So I know one of them, this was like, they'd had like 4 albums before this.
Yeah,
In
they
the-
got some earlier albums.
And they were always saying that they were always running in debt. And then when it came to this album, it was like, yeah, we're still in the hole. We're still debt. Like all the musicians were like,
Well, Whitesnake wasn't a big band.
where are we making money here? I thought we
Yeah.
were selling out. So I assume Dave was taking his good cut.
Whitesnake didn't really,
Not until the '87 album.
yeah, still the
Yeah.
stuff. So this is more bluesy. I don't even know if I call it hard
No.
rock. It's blues rock.
Yeah.
It's a little, I guess, gets a little, but
There's. Okay, go ahead.
Dave Coverdale, just a little history on him. He replaced Ian Gillan in Deep Purple. Like 73, 74. That's where he came from. That's what put him on the map. And I think he did an album or 2 with them. Then he went on to do Whitesnake. But if you look at this album, he's got 2 guys from Deep Purple in this band. He's got Ian Pace and John Lord.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So there's a big connection between Deep Purple and Whitesnake.
How about Ray Gillan?
Well, Ray Gillan's great. No relation,
No,
but great.
I met him
You did.
in a club in L.A. We were just hanging out and chatting. with him.
Tragic. You know,
I
what
know.
tragic. That Badlands album is
So good.
phenomenal.
Sorry,
Love that.
go ahead.
So, but this is early. I say early Whitesnake, but this is, like we said, 82. So this isn't the beginnings of Whitesnake, but it's still the earlier version of what was to come from this
I
band.
think the next album they had more success. Was that Slide
Was
In?
that the Sliding In?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sliding In is when they got Sykes and it got a little heavier, a little more hard rock with him. And, then they just went from there. But this album and before was very bluesy. They got Mickey Moody, Bernie Marsden, really blues based,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't bad.
No.
But
You can hear it. There's some tunes that are total like, I don't know, just like a straight bluesy number.
blues progressions, blues, and Dave's voice is phenomenal
Mm-hmm.
in those days.
Yep.
So yeah,
All right. First song, Young Blood.
I got great musicianship,
Yeah.
great vocals, which no
Yeah.
surprise. I mean, we're talking David Coverdale. I think it's a good opening
Upbeat,
song
yeah.
for the album.
Yep.
Comes in heavy, not heavy, but comes in driving, So I didn't mind that song.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't go back and listen to the other albums because I don't know if this was the beginning of David doing his classic ending of songs by quote unquote, hey baby, you need me. He ends this song by saying,
Doesn't every girl need David Coverdale?
he ends this song by saying, I'm gonna make you mine. And I don't know.
He's done that. He's notorious for that.
Oh yeah, so I was like, is this the beginning of him doing that, or did he do it even back? I don't know. Maybe he did it in the Deep Purple days.
No, who knows?
But it's so funny. Once I heard it, I just laughed and I was like, oh my god, that's Coverdale.
Well, he was different with Deep Purple because in Deep Purple he had to share the vocal duties with Glenn Hughes.
Mm.
So he really didn't come out of his shell until he went with Whitesnake, And Glenn Hughes is a great singer.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if there was tension there, but they brought him in.
Mm-hmm.
You can't bring a guy in like Coverdale and then say, oh, wait a minute, this guy can sing. It's like, well, that's why he brought him in.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how many albums he stuck around for with them. Not many.
I have no idea.
I think Ian Gillan came back. I think that's what happened. So. All right.
Rough and Ready.
I got great
By the way,
bluesy shuffle.
There's a lot of ends in a lot of these songs. Rough and Ready, Love and Affection, Rock and Roll Angels, Saints and Sinners.
Yeah. I think that was
the
common back then.
Yeah, bluesy shuffle. That's what I wrote. I wrote.
Good riff.
I said his voice is made for this stuff. Like
great vocals.
Yeah.
Not these aren't single ready songs, but hits, but they're solid, good songs.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. I think I remember having a shuffle. I wrote shuffle down. It had some kind of shuffle groove in it.
Yeah, I wrote a little bluesy shuffle.
Yeah, and a good riff.
And he ends this song by saying the same thing. Says something again. And I laughed. I wrote a note. He does it again at the end of this song.
Oh, yeah. He's a rock star, man.
It's his thing. Hey, baby.
He's going to let you know it.
Baby, you need me.
Yeah.
All right. Bloody Luxury. I wish I had a British accent.
Geez, I wrote Jerry Lee Lewis style song.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of that.
And I wrote...
With great vocals.
I don't think this fits the album, but...
But that era,
yeah.
Jerry Lou with the piano, and it just came across to me that way. Once again, David Coverdale on his game.
Mm-hmm.
Not surprised.
Yep. Victim of Love.
I got solid song for the times. There was something in it kind of reminded me of Robert Palmer in the verse.
So that's funny. So I wrote good riff. Reminds me of Bad Company.
Yeah, there's something in there. I don't know if it was back. I don't know if I was thinking Addicted to. There was something in there that just had that feel.
Yeah. I may have to,
not a bad song. I
may have to go back and listen
Okay.
to why I said Bad Company.
Yep.
May have been a tune it sounded like. Crying in the Rain. it's
I got-
extremely hard to listen to this knowing the 87 version.
Of course. That's why I said mellow version of what was to come.
Yeah.
Obviously the production wasn't there, and John Sykes wasn't there.
Yeah. I wrote the production went way up in 87.
Right. Yeah. It's only 5 years, but 5 years in technology
Yeah.
is a long time.
Yeah. And a different mindset of the song, Sykes giving his spin. I don't know what I was feeling here. Or maybe this is just Coverdale in me. I wrote a great little sexy guitar riff, Crying in the Rain.
I mean, John Sykes just added the power
Thickness.
and thickness to these songs,
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you know what else I saw, and I could be wrong, but Coverdale wrote a lot of these songs. Does Coverdale play guitar?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if
Like, he may have...
writing the lyrics means writing the song.
I don't
Because
know.
I know Mickey Moody and Marsden wrote them.
Okay.
But, I pulled the album up here online, and there's some songs that say Coverdale Marsden, Coverdale Moody, and some just say Coverdale.
Yeah, that's what I mean. With the
So
one
I
that's
don't know,
Coverdale.
but I've never seen him with a guitar on his back since day one.
Yeah, so maybe he knows enough to do the framework and progressions and stuff, and then
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because I see him as the sole writer on some of these, like, I don't want to say some of the ones, like Bloody Luxury, even Crying in the Rain. Did he write Crying in the Rain? I know he wrote the vocals, but I don't know if he wrote the...
You've got some homework to do.
Yeah, we're going to have to look
You're gonna
and find
look that
out.
up. See what you
Maybe
find
he's a
out.
shredder, just doesn't want to come out of the closet.
There's no John Sykes. He's
No,
actually the
it's
one.
all been Dave.
Here I go again.
I got great song that was polished later on.
Yep.
They changed a lot of things in it too. They updated it.
They could have done anything. I wrote here there's a horrific guitar sound. Go back and listen to it. Like, it's awful.
Yeah, I mean this '87 version was.
Yeah. And it seems like it drags. I didn't compare the
tempo?
two. Yeah.
Yeah, they might have picked it up a little bit. I don't think it's that much faster, but just a little bit can actually help.
Oh, here we go. Next one. Wait till you hear this analogy. It'd be funny if you wrote the exact same thing, but Love and Affection.
Yeah, the only thing I had on that was more great Dave vocals and good for the times.
I've got another homework piece for you to do. Go listen to that.
Hold on, we gotta write this down because I don't remember. Okay.
Go listen to that, Love and Affection, and then go put on Led Zeppelin How Many More Times.
Oh, really?
Yep. Like they do the same thing.
Really?
And I was like, that's pretty interesting. I wish we could play music. I wish we could play, but all right.
Where are we? Love and Affection? Okay, that's the one you said was sounds like
So
How Many
now
More
we're on
Times.
to Rock and Roll Angels.
I got
Wait till you see what I wrote.
Forgettable. Not bad, but not great.
I wrote it. Oftentimes it feels like a Richard Marx song. Yeah, it wasn't that
I
good.
can't see how that's a compliment.
It was terrible.
Yeah. No,
As my kids would say, that's terrible. They say that often about stuff I listen to.
music.
Yeah.
All right, well, fair enough.
Terrible. And then this one, I was trying to understand the meaning of it. Dancing Girls.
Yeah. We'll have to crack that code.
Anything?
I got a great riff, okay chorus, great vocals, tight band.
Yeah. So I wrote, I would love to hear Sykes beef up this riff because it's a good riff.
Which he probably could have.
Yeah, yeah. And then I wrote the chorus is hilarious. Bring on the dancing girls. He just keeps saying it.
Yeah.
Not saying I had any better. I'm just...
No, but I think Sykes took that band to a different level. Mm-hmm. Different plateau.
Yep. Definitely.
No doubt about that.
All right. Last song, Saints and Sinners. Is this where you got your band name?
I don't know how we got that name. I don't even know who named that band. Might have been Frangus. I don't remember. Who came up with that name. I didn't care for it. I think Sinners to Cain was a better name.
Oh, so last Saturday, we were in Dover. I have a hard time remembering this. We were in Dover for a hockey game, my son's hockey game. And Lisa and I went to a coffee shop and was sitting there in line to get a coffee, and there was a band playing there that night. And it was called Sinister, like Sinister.
Pain.
No. No. It was like Sinister Funky or Sinister Psychedelic or something. But I was like, oh my God, I got to take I forgot.
I named that band.
Didn't take a picture.
Because it was supposed to be a play on Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
The movie or whatever.
That's what I said.
Yeah. But I think I was with you. I think you and I were kind of talking about it.
I remember it differently, but...
What do you got?
I remember saying Citizen Kane.
Remember that.
And I thought Mike had said Sinister Kane.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe...
I wanted to take credit for that. Thanks for blowing me out a lot. I really wanted credit for that.
What's Mike's number? Let's call him.
The drummers get credit for that.
Let's call him and ask him. We'll get him right here.
Get him on the horn?
What'd you say? Drummers never get credit?
No. Not surprised.
Well, anyway, Saints and Sinners.
Yep. I got another great riff, more great Coverdale, and a good guitar solo.
Yeah, it's better than my review. I wrote it's an okay song.
Yeah, not a great song, but
I wouldn't want to listen to it if I didn't have to. But
don't make me read between the lines, Derek. What do you think of this song?
I guess I didn't care for it. And, I guess I was kind of excited. It was the last song to listen to, so I knew it was over. And again, it's hard knowing what 2 albums away is going to be. Like, that album was just so a masterpiece.
On another note, this album came out in 82. So bands like Van Halen are already out there deep into their career.
Mm-hmm.
So considering, well, I guess Van Halen is their own kind of, but they're ahead of their time. Because in 82, look how, Motley was just coming out. And that era
well, that's why I said
wasn't even really out yet.
That's why I said when we look at 1983, that's where it starts.
Things are going to stop blowing up.
Yeah. But, yeah, all right. Anyways, so overall, say what you will.
I'm a Whitesnake fan. I'm a Dave Coverdale fan. I can listen to this album, but does it hold the test of time? I think it sounds 35 years old, and
I think it sounds,
no,
sounds older than that.
I don't. Yeah, whatever it is, it doesn't. I don't think it. Wow.
I know what you meant.
I don't know if I would go out of my way and throw this album on in my car. It's not the first album I would reach for to play when I want to play Whitesnake.
I hear you. Yeah, no, I had the same sentiment about it. It was some decent songs, but overall as an album, I don't think it stands the test of time.
No.
To listen to. And it's hard, again, knowing the other albums we listen to. It's tricky. But.
Right.
All right, moving on. So
All
one
right.
down. Next one. I'll let you, however you
I
have it
got
written down.
Kiss Creatures of the Night.
Kiss, Creatures of the Night. How were you introduced to Kiss, Mark?
Oh, boy. Kiss? For some reason, when I was a kid, I had albums from these bands, and I didn't pay a penny for them, and I don't know how they got in my house.
That guy down the street, you told me.
Well, now, we'd go there and listen to their
Oh,
albums.
okay.
I don't know how I ended up with the Kiss catalog in my house. I think there was somebody, and I don't remember, and I was young, probably 10, 12. And somehow I ended up getting like the first 3, 4, 5 albums from them. You know, the early stuff. You know, the first album, Love Gun, Destroyer, all those albums. And the 2 live ones, Kiss Alive 1, Kiss Alive 2. I don't know how I got them. I couldn't even begin to tell you how I got these albums. But the first album I love. I love the rawness of it. I love the newness of this band coming out that was not like anything.
74, I think.
70. Early. Yeah. 73, 74. I like the songs on it. Yeah, so that's how I got introduced to them. When you're a kid and you open up the cover of Kiss Alive 1 and you look at that stage and Peter Criss 30 feet up in the air in a drum riser and everything that's going on there, that's when I told myself, that's what I want to do for a living. That's what I shouldn't say that because I listened to Zepp 1. And I used to take Zeppelin 1, I used to put her on my, the album. I put her on my record player. And then I immediately jump on my bed, close my eyes, and I'd lay there and I'd pretend that was me playing the drums. Okay. I was me playing drums. And I'd sit there and go, man, that band was so different than everything else in that collection of albums I had. But yeah, so that's how I got into Kiss. Early on, first album. And I love that. I love Hotter Than Hell. They were great back then. I liked everything they were doing back in those early days. Yeah, that's where it started, right from the beginning. I mean, obviously the first album was already been out for years. I probably heard it in 78. And like you said, it came out in probably 73 or 72, 3 or 4 or something like that. But, man, that was my introduction.
I was introduced to Kiss from a kid I played hockey with. His older brother had Kiss albums, and we'd go in his basement and listen to them. But it never stuck with me. And they were never playing at parties I went to in high school. It was always
but when you were introduced,
Zepp,
how old were you? Because I was 10.
Well, yeah.
If you're 16, you're like, I don't think the impact is there.
But what I'm saying is I was introduced and the impact wasn't there. And then when I got older, I didn't get reintroduced to them. So
fell off the radar.
Completely. I've never listened to this album. Ever. And so I couldn't name, if you put a gun to my head right now and said name 8 Kiss songs, I probably couldn't do it.
Well, let me ask you that, the same thing I'm going to say is, when you were introduced, how old were you?
So I would have been a pee-wee hockey player. I must have been 11, 12.
Oh, so you were young.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't remember like you remember I think it was the Kiss Alive album that his brother had, but I don't. And then again, my brother, who was older than me, 10 years older, who had all his albums.
Right.
They were all Southern rock, Foghat, Leonard Skinner, Zepp. There was no.
Which I love that.
Like my brother would not have been. My brother. He was not a Kiss guy. So I never really was introduced to him. And so they never stuck with me as something I
Well, to be,
listened to.
you know, and to put things in perspective, by the time I was, well, say I got into them, I was young. Man, I could have been even like 8 or 9, 10. By the time Van Halen 78 came out, I was done with Kiss. And I was probably 12. So it's not like
I think you should know how old you were at 78. Not
I was
probably. Okay.
But when Van Halen came out, I was already moved on from Kiss. So Kiss was like when I was really young,
Yeah.
you know, grammar school
Yeah.
kid, you know. Because it was like a circus. It was like, wow, look at this. It wasn't the songs more than it was the makeup and the show and everything that went on. And when you're a kid that young, that's impressive. But before I was even a teenager, I was already moved on from Kiss. You know, so you grasp onto them and you ride it out.
And we know people that are like diehards.
We have friends that die hard. Like, that wasn't us.
No, I never.
Yeah, I was done with them before the 80s even came in. You know.
Yep. But came out in October '82. This is the October album. They wanted it to be their heaviest album because I guess the few albums before were pretty. Well, they had the disco-y album and
Dynasty.
Yeah, and then they had some lighter stuff, and I heard that their fan base had kind of started to fall off, so they wanted this to be like bring
it back,
rock back,
yeah,
metal back. 10th album.
Yeah, I mean this isn't. This is later in the. Well, I say later in their career. They're still around. I mean this is. But they had been around. They weren't the new kids on the block.
You know. Yep. Guitar Magazine placed this album at number 5 on their list of best hard rock albums of '82.
That's because nothing else came out except Saints and Sinners.
No, the whole year. There was some big albums in
there. Yeah, I don't know. Well, Diver Down came out that year.
Guitar World named it 25 the 25 greatest guitar albums of '82. That's interesting. And
what does that mean?
I don't know.
That means there weren't a lot of great guitar albums in '82.
Well, Diver Down came out.
Yeah, well, that's probably number 1.
Yeah. Yeah, got it. So, yeah, thought that was interesting. Certified Gold.
Well, we touched on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a little different because when you come off a great album, your next album, even if it's not good, goes gold because the previous album was great. But they came off the bad albums. So that's pretty impressive that they came off the Elders and Dynasty and still was able to go gold after a couple of flops.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
I didn't write down what their singles were on this album.
The only one we'll get to it, obviously, but.
All right. Well, anything else you have on the album, or you want to?
The only thing I want to touch on is Ace Frehley is on the album cover and is not on the album except for I think one solo.
I think I heard he did like promotional stuff too.
Yeah.
And they brought
he was
in
Detox or something at that point, I think, but he is on the album cover.
And is this Eric's first album?
I
think it is.
No, it might be his first album. I think that Vinnie Vincent recorded all of it, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
One review I read was that they said going from Peter Criss, more jazzy drummer, to Eric was more of a
kick in the pants,
like to a bottom drummer.
Yeah, definitely add a little more punch to the music for sure.
Yep. All right. Creatures of the Night. Again, this is the first time I've...
Well, let me tell you, I didn't remember much of this album because, like I said, by '82, I was not into Kiss.
Yeah.
I wasn't buying Kiss albums. I wasn't going to Kiss concerts. I wasn't doing anything. So the first song, Creature of the Night, good riff, Heavy, good solo. I liked it.
Yeah,
I
did
was
too.
surprised. I was shockingly surprised what I heard. I was like, wow, this is pretty good.
And great opening tune.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, Stanley's vocals were good. Everything. Yeah, I liked it.
Yep.
And I wrote, never heard of it. But
I couldn't tell you how that song went if
No.
you asked me.
No.
But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good tune.
Cool. All right, so next is Saints and Sinners.
Oh, I haven't heard that title in a while.
But they spell it out, I think. They spell it and Sinners.
Yeah.
With
I
a
got
D.
good vocal phrasing. I think I like the way the vocals was actually playing along with the guitar
Mhm.
part. They were kind of playing the same progression. I like that. That's pretty much all I put. That's Gene, I think, singing on that
It
one, right?
is, Yep.
Yeah, like the guitar and vocal playing together. I thought that.
It's better than Whitesnake's Saints and Sinners.
I think it is.
I wrote, I really like the chorus. Again, great tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked. So, okay, next is Keep Me Coming.
I got great riff, good chorus, good solo.
You get more than me. I just wrote it's not bad.
Yeah. Nothing great, but nothing bad.
No.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Hell.
I've got.
What did I write?
I didn't like that song. It did nothing for me.
I wrote, I don't even know what I meant by this, but I wrote, perhaps a song of shit they were experiencing. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't really care for it. But
No.
I don't know what the hell
No, I
wrote
didn't
here.
like that at all. Not a good
Interesting.
tune.
No.
Not their best effort.
Nope. Danger.
Danger, I got classic Kiss intro. Sounds like some of the earlier day stuff. Okay song.
Yeah, I wrote, nah, just blah.
Yeah.
I Love It Loud.
That was
Classic.
their hit.
Oh, was it? Classic rock anthem.
Good song. Solid. I almost don't want to say the best song in this album because I still think I like Creatures of the Night
Mm-hmm.
better. But it's not a bad song.
But such an anthem, like after
right?
after that, think of how many songs were written like that.
You're right.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
Where are we? I Still Love You.
Okay ballad. Good guitar solo. Okay.
Yeah, I wrote okay.
Was
and
it
I
bad?
said I wasn't a fan of the guitar sound. I don't remember exactly what it was about it. I should probably be more
Yeah.
descriptive.
The solo
but
I had as being okay.
Yep,
Nothing great.
I hear you. Next one, Killer, Stone Cold Killer.
That's it. That's all I put.
I wrote
Not
really
impressed.
another one, not bad. Had all the elements of a quote unquote rock song.
Yeah.
I bet real Kiss fans would say that they made the template for many bands by a song like this. Like it
Yeah,
just
I mean,
seemed
it
like
fits all the criteria.
yeah. War Machine.
Okay, not great.
Oh, here's another homework assignment for you.
Hold on. I gotta
Here's
get
another
my
one.
paper. Jesus Christ, I'll be up
Give
till
me
freaking
that.
midnight
Give me
tonight.
that. Give me that. Yeah, you have a lot of homework. I want to report tomorrow
6 a.m.
on my desk.
All right, what do you got?
Here's your other homework. Go listen to War Machine again. Then go listen to Sex Pistols, STP, Sex Type Thing.
Oh, really?
Tell me what you think of the riff.
Well, then you're going to say that STP ripped off Kiss?
It's
'Cause I think
it's pretty darn
STP
close.
is writing, they're thinking Kiss.
If anything, they're thinking Zepp, but
Yeah, I know.
that riff is like it's there. I'm like, oh my god, why do I know this riff?
All right, I'll have to look this stuff up. You get me a bunch of shit.
Giving you homework. Giving you homework. Hey, keep that paper out. You may have more homework. Overview. Say what you will.
Surprisingly, I like this album better than I thought I was going to like it. I don't remember it. I couldn't remember a song except for what was the hit?
Love It Loud.
Love It Loud. I knew that. Never really listened to the rest of this album. Better than I thought it was going to be. Does it hold up? You know what? I could throw this on and listen to it in my car.
I agree. I wrote here that I think if I heard this album back from 83 to
92.
90, I would have become a Kiss fan.
Yeah,
Like-
I gotta be honest with you. I was impressed with this album.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that,
I never was introduced to it.
No.
Never came across.
and I think nothing on Ace Frehley. I mean, he's a legend. I think Vinnie Vincent made this album better. I think him coming in with some fresh ideas and fresh, a younger gunslinger, guitar player, helped mold this album.
Yeah.
I think that helped. I think if Ace really played on this album, would it be as good as it is? I think.
So I don't
Vinnie
know.
Vincent made it better.
Yeah, and I don't know the other Kiss albums, but it seemed like there were a lot of riffs on this album, and I always liked riffs, and I always thought of Kiss as not a riff band, but
Riff-oriented.
more of a progression type riff
Yeah.
band. So, I was surprised. I would,
I would play that in my car.
I think it holds up.
Yep.
All right, the last album.
Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance.
Yes. What was your introduction?
Wow, this one's interesting. I think I was introduced to some of the earlier stuff first. Obviously, they had a lot of albums before that.
Well, wait a second. You say obviously, but maybe I wasn't.
No, on its own. Obviously,
you're a lot older than me.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, obviously, they had a lot of albums
I know.
before
I'm
that.
just kidding.
And I think they're kind of in the same mold as Whitesnake, where they had one era of their music, and then they transitioned into the 80s with a different Priest, without even changing members, where, Whitesnake changed personnel as they went along and became what they were from like the Saints and Sinners album to Still the Night album. It was night and day. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's two different bands. I think Priest is the same. You start listening to this early Priest stuff, and it don't sound like Scream for Vengeance or what was the one after that? That big album.
Turbo Lover and
All that.
Yeah.
It's like they evolved, and it's like there was a cutoff between 70s Priest, 80s Priest. And so I knew both. I mean, obviously, but I don't know even how I know. This album came out in 82. I'm like 15 years old.
July of 82.
I remember telling my brother.
Their first album was in 74.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You put on a 74 Priest, it don't sound like an 84 Priest.
No.
It's like, which is obvious.
Yeah.
Technology changes, music changes. But when this album, what I can't remember is, how the hell did you know when an album was coming out in 1982? There was no technology. How did I know
Just
to
radio.
go to Bradley's and buy the album? How do I know it's out? I don't know. It's on the radio. I don't know. I don't know how I knew the album's there to go buy. But I remember walking down with my brother to Bradley's in Manchester, bought the album. I made him bring me down there. I don't know why I need him to go down. Why couldn't I walk down by myself? I was 15 years old. I can't walk to Bradley's. It was freaking a mile from the house. Less than a
Did he hold your hand?
So I went down there, bought the album. brought it home, and yeah, I mean that was it. Like I said, I don't know how I was introduced to this album, how I knew this album was available in
Probably
the
the
stores
radio,
back then.
maybe?
I don't know, man. It had to be the radio. I mean, how else do you know back then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was introduced to Judas Priest with this album. So
Great introduction.
yeah, it was in the back of a van.
By the river?
This guy named Todd. No, no. Again, another hockey thing. We used to one of the kids I used to ride to hockey games with. His dad was a painter, and back then, painting vans had no seats in the back.
Yeah, it was all open.
It was just open, and we used to sit in the back. And he had a boombox. He was one of the only kid that had a boombox.
Yep.
And he had this album, and I remember him cranking the single and Scream of Revengeance and Electric Eye, all of it. And that was my introduction. I think I remember playing it in the locker room. So we were, I was 12 years old.
Yep.
So playing it in the locker room, and yeah, that was my introduction to them. And it was this album.
Yeah.
Guitar World. Oh, it went platinum in '83.
As it should have.
I read this. It went double platinum in 2001.
Wow.
They must have done a
They're still
re-release.
selling this album.
Yeah.
This is like Zeppelin,
Well,
where the albums are just selling and selling. And you go look at like the top Billboard 200.
mm-hmm.
There's albums on there like Physical Graffiti is still on the top 200.
Yeah.
It's still selling.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, so I was going to talk. I don't know where I was going to talk about it, but I mean, this has. Think about sporting events. They still play hard rock songs at sporting events.
Oh yeah, I mean, how many times do you hear Back in Black?
Right.
Come on,
or
Jump, obviously.
Thunderstruck, or they all play that. But like this is maybe. Oh, I know. You know why it went. I know why it went. Double platinum. I have a note here.
Was it a movie soundtrack?
No, video game.
Oh, really?
It was part of a video game. And I wrote how most rock bands become relevant again. Video games. You Got Another Thing Coming was on, I forget which video game. I didn't write it down. And they play it in some sporting
A recent
events.
video game? Like
In
these times or not back then?
Well,
obviously.
like how Guitar Hero has made rock songs relevant again.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So, but yeah, that was my introduction. And
I got it right here. I brought it up. Electric Eye was featured on Grand Theft Auto: Vice City Stories.
Yeah.
I don't know what year. Oh, 2012.
Yeah.
So what that does, it goes your sales.
Yep.
Your sales go up.
And this, going back to what we were talking about before about Kiss, this album was played at parties I was at.
Yeah, it was the soundtrack of your generation.
It was always on.
Of course.
Playing quarters to Electric Eye.
Yeah. And they're beating the shit out of each other.
And then having a beer.
Yeah.
And they're on tour right now. Did you know that?
Minus Glenn Tipton.
Yeah,
I think he's got Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I don't even know if KK Downing's in the band.
Oh, I don't know.
I got to look at the lineup. I don't know.
I went and looked at a YouTube video, and Halford's there moving around slowly. But you know what else I came across was them playing at the US Festival in '83.
Great.
Have you seen that video?
Yep.
What do you think of the drum riser?
Too high.
It's like
I've never seen a drum
80
riser.
feet in the air.
Oh my! How do you get up there? An elevator? I know, it's ridiculous.
I came across that video. I was like,
yeah, I was watching a little bit a few months ago, going, "What? Look how freaking high this guy is." He was higher than Alex, which was the headliner.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they allowed him to go.
Hey, we've got this staging that goes up.
I think he had an oxygen mask on.
It was high. Oh my God, it was so funny. But they.
But that was the times. I mean, that was
Yeah.
what it was about.
It was so. I gotta see if Mark saw this.
All right, so I'm looking at current members. Ian Hill, who's been with them since '69.
Jesus.
Talk about another band that's been around since the beginning of time. Halford. It's got Tipton, limited touring to illness since 2018, so I guess he's jumping in and out. Scott Travis on drums, and Richie Faulkner has been in since 2011. So no Downing, and I don't know what Tipton's doing. I guess he's jumping in and out of shows. But yeah. Oh, they got a touring musician, Andy Sneap. So I'm thinking when Tipton doesn't show up, this guy plays.
And the drums are on the ground.
Well, they're at least, somewhat on the ground. Yeah, that's got to be the highest drum riser in the history of drum rise.
Well, it's not even a riser. It's the scaffolding.
Yeah.
And then they just put a couple boards up there, and they put I don't even know how long.
Now, when you show up,
and when you have how long are the cords to go?
Oh my, yeah. There's no wireless back then. Oh, I know. I thought it was Spinal Tap.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
I wonder if Dave would jump off of that.
Oh. Well, you ever notice with Dave, right in front of where he jumps off is a mat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering, how do you not crack your ankle when you hit the stage? But I guess there's a bad there.
So, all right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, moving on. First song.
The Hellion.
The Hellion.
Awesome.
Intro. Great intro.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
Probably one of the greatest intros to an album ever.
You said Electric Eye is on Grand Theft Auto. I bet that's tied to it.
It probably kicks off.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't play Electric Eye without playing it Hellion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Vocals sucked, but
yeah. That's why I didn't put them on it.
Electric Eye.
Awesome.
I wrote
Great
here.
riff.
I wrote here. So why a ballad? Holy smokes, that's an awesome tune.
I love that song.
Kicks your
The vocals are phenomenal. It's one of the greatest heavy metal songs written by one of the greatest heavy metal bands ever. I love it. I love everything about that song.
The vocal range is not like reaching high, but just the dynamic of low and high. It's just awesome.
Phenomenal.
And again, great opening tune for an album.
Yeah.
I wrote coming out of the solo. It has an awesome break riff.
It
sounds like another mini song.
But it's so heavy.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Is that the dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like chills. I get my freaking hair on my arms stand up. Today. I mean, this album's how old? 40 years.
Yeah.
And it's still just as impacting to me when I listen to.
Yeah, very good. Ride on the Wind.
Great.
A ride, great.
Love it. Everything. That's what I wrote. Great. Everything. Love it.
I wrote, it isn't a singer. So I know what I was writing here. He's not like, if you were to say, pick your favorite singer out of these three, Coverdale would be, just because the type of singing that I like.
Yeah, we like the Plant blues.
Right. So I'm not a huge fan of it, but he fucking rocks it.
The range of this guy.
Awesome. And then into fourth song, Bloodstone.
Great riff. One of my favorite songs on the album. I love it.
So I disagree.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to listen to it. I'm gonna have some homework. I wrote.
You don't love that intro? Yeah,
but I think song.
I love that. One of my favorites. But hey, that's what we're here for. What do you got?
Is it really? Yeah, I wrote man. Take these chains.
Well, I want to hear a little bit more on Bloodstone. What?
That's all I wrote was meh.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's fine. Take these chains. Cover. That's a cover song, but a good version of that song.
So I didn't know it was a cover song.
Yeah. If I could pull
Pointer
up who
Sisters?
wrote that song real quick, but I believe that is a cover. Who wrote Take These Chains?
John Waite?
Bob Halligan Jr.
Oh, not Senior. Senior wrote...
Wow, who is this guy? American singer, producer, songwriter,
Sure it's the right
collaborator. Well, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to call it a cover. I think he might have just helped them write this song. Because as a songwriter, Halligan has contributed songs to 2 albums by heavy metal bands Judas Priest, Take These Chains, and Some Heads Are Gonna Roll. So I take that back. It's not a cover, but he did.
Interesting.
He was part of the songwriting.
No idea.
Yep. I don't know who he is. He's
some young guy.
He's a producer. He's in the business.
Hmm.
But good song. I didn't mind it.
These two right here, Bloodstone and Take These Chains, are right in the middle for me. Like, everything else
Yep.
Pain and Pleasure.
I thought that was not one of the better songs on the album, considering, Ride the Wind and Electric Eye and
I mean, those first.
It's okay,
Yeah.
but it's not their strongest effort.
So, what became apparent listening to this song after the other ones, the vocal sound, I don't know, not quality, but effects on the vocals change on a few of these tunes, and it seems weird to do on an album.
Right.
Like I can see it from album to album.
You figured you keep the levels where they're at.
Yeah, it's weird. It sounds different.
Right.
But, anyways. And then next one, this little ditty, what is this? Screaming for Vengeance?
Love everything about this song. Great riff, great vocals. Great.
Yeah.
It's just
it's awesome.
phenomenal.
Yep. Like I said, I remember playing this in the locker room like over and over and over.
Yeah.
They do have, and I wrote also, coming out of the solo, there's another like riff break, but it's like a poppy riff break. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's different. And then I also read that this song was added like in the 11th hour.
Oh, really? And they named the album after it.
Yeah, they didn't even really have it, and they were just like, "Oh, let's put this on."
Which, let's add that the title of this album is one of the greatest titles of an album ever.
Yeah.
Metal album. I mean, I love that. I love that title.
Better than Cherry Pie.
Wow. All right, I take that back. Second.
What's the next one? Oh, you've got another thing coming?
Classic.
Yeah.
Greatest.
Oh, so, wait, I misspoke. This is the song that they added at the end, 11th hour. Not Screaming.
Okay.
But how funny
classic.
is that? Like their
biggest hit.
Yeah. Got this one. Oh, I've got this riff. Let's work this out. Turns into the biggest hit.
No, what's impressive about this band is to be a heavy metal, which they were considered back in that day, to have singles and hits.
Oh, yeah.
And look at Metallica back in the day. They didn't have any hits until the Black Album.
Yep. And
what did they have to do? They had to shift gears and get a little more straightforward with their writing. And, there's no hit off Ride the Lightning.
Right.
I love the album. I love, Master of Puppets. I
There's
love
no
that shit.
radio.
But there's no radio.
Yeah.
This band had a way of just kicking your ass. And oh, by the way, you're gonna hear us on the radio too.
Yeah.
You know.
They were shocked. They said that it was a single. They didn't think it would.
No,
anything would be a single.
It's a classic. I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now. Without this album, this album influenced so many bands to follow. You know, Pantera, everything that came out later on. If you weren't influenced by this album as a rock artist, I don't even care if it was metal. I mean, you and I are influenced by this album.
Yeah.
And we were more of a just straight ahead hard rock.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So I thought it was also funny that the name of the studio they recorded this in.
Oh, I don't know.
BJ's.
BJ's.
But it was BEEJAY.
Where is that studio?
I don't know.
They record that in England or?
I didn't dive deep. I saw that. And I'm like, that's a pretty funny name for a studio.
BJ's. It'd probably tell me here where they recorded that. Columbia Records. I got Ibiza Sound Studios, Ibiza, Spain, BJ Studios, Orlando.
Oh, BJ's
So
in Orlando.
I guess they did a couple different studios.
Maybe that's where you've got another thing coming is because that's where I wrote it on that song.
Yeah.
So,
Producer Tom Ullman. Don't know anything about that guy. Tom Ullman.
no.
I mean, he's not one of the bigger hard rock producers. I mean, there was Mutt Lange. There was obviously what's his name from Bob Rock.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not familiar with this guy.
No.
He did a great job.
Fever.
Okay.
What's funny is it seems like a song that they would play at a high school dance for a slow song.
Yeah, I mean, is that their ballad?
That's their ballad.
Fever. Okay.
Yeah.
There's not much to say about it.
Yeah, just
Okay.
Good tune.
Yeah.
Devil's Child.
I got good opening riff, cool drumming, like the vocals. I like the background vocals in it. I like it.
No, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess say what you will.
I think this song is the
album.
I'm sorry. This
Come
album
on,
is
let's go.
a classic, one of the greatest heavy metal albums ever written, and stands the test of time. I can throw this album in 50 years from now and still love it.
If you're around 50 years from now, let's do it. But no, it is it's an awesome album. It's very good.
Yep.
And I hadn't listened to it in forever. And but yeah, no, it rocks. It holds up.
Yep.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So, of the three, well, let me ask you this. I asked you this last time. This doesn't really have great drummers. I was going to ask you what your
we got
favorite drummers were.
Oh, well, yeah, I have mine. My order on drummers: Ian Pace, which is on Whitesnake. Geez, I'm tempted to go with Eric Carr, but I think I'm more persuaded by the unorthodox, goofy playing of Dave Holland. But you listen to the drumming he's playing. I got to put Dave Holland second because.
Well, who's number one?
Ian Pace.
Oh, okay. All right.
So Pace, Holland, Carr.
Gotcha. How about of the three albums?
Three albums. It goes Scream for Vengeance.
What are you going 3, 2, 1? Or are you going 1, 2, 3? What are you doing? You started
number
at
one. We'll go number
Okay.
one favorite. Scream for Vengeance. two, man. I'm going Creatures of the Night, and I think I'm going Whitesnake.
I was going to say something similar. I was going to do 3 Whitesnake, 2 Kiss, and then Judas.
Yep, we're on the same page.
And I was pleasantly surprised about the Kiss.
Yeah. But these are different albums. I mean, these 3 bands could be in totally different order. The 3 different albums.
Yeah.
But for these 3, that's the order.
I think the 3.
I mean, Priest stands out tenfold.
Oh yeah.
Over those other 2 albums.
Yeah.
You're talking about a legendary classic album, and then you're talking about
filler albums
from the other 2. Mm-hmm. You know, if you had Whitesnake Still a Night in there.
Yeah, if you had 87.
Yeah, then I'm like,
that would be tough.
Man, okay. Yeah. That's different. And Kiss, I don't know. I don't know what Kiss album would really. I'd have to go way back. I don't even know if that even also would hold up, like Hotter Than Hell and Destroyer and all those, but they would be better and, better in line than Creatures of the Night. But hey, I was pleasantly surprised at that album. Yep.
I think the next 3 we're going to do, too, there's a lot of variety, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, you wanted to do...
oh, yes.
What do you want to do? Top 3 videos?
Top 3 MTV videos of hard rock videos. Well, I guess you could say of that ever, or from the era, the 80s. But I got 3 here that come to mind.
Well, I gotta tell you this. So you grew up in Manchester.
Yeah.
I grew up in Exeter in the woods. So we had no access to videos until...
Well, you had MTV.
No.
What?
We didn't have cable. we didn't have cable and probably until 86.
Are you kidding me?
No, 85, 86. So we used to watch, do you remember V66?
Yep. I do
out
remember
of Boston.
that.
That's how I would.
And that wasn't that bad.
That was over the airwaves. So that was...
I used to watch that, V66.
So that's how I used to be able to see videos. Now, the guy who introduced me to Judas Priest in the back of the van, he used to live in town. And so I would go to his house and watch MTV. And I was like, what is this cable? This is amazing.
Yeah.
So I remember going to his house and watching Ozzy had a live concert on a Saturday. They used to do Saturday night concerts. Yeah. And Brad Gillis filled in after Randy went down.
And he was good. Yep. Great guitar.
And I remember seeing that stuff. So that's how I saw my videos. So I didn't...
No, but still, I mean, even if it was later on that you watched these videos.
Oh, it was way later on, though.
You could still say, hey.
Yeah, no, I can give them to you. But I'm just letting you know, like, I didn't have... We had fucking
You didn't have
ears.
access. Yeah, I get it.
We had channel 38. That's what V66 came over.
I remember V66.
Channel 38 was where we watched the Bruins.
I used to lay at my bedroom. I had my bed, and I had a little TV, 13-inch TV, right next to my bed, and I used to watch.
Because you didn't have
V66.
cable upstairs.
I had no cable.
Right. So you were like, your bedroom was like our whole house.
Oh man.
So I was a little late to the game of, enjoying the video. So.
All right, what do you got?
All right, what do we got? So, I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1 on my list real quick.
Okay.
Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Wow.
Richard Marx. Hold.
You're full of dog shit.
No, so I'm still and always will be a fan of live videos, unless they're done like that.
Well, and when you say live, are you talking live
footage?
Footage of recording.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking Frampton live or anything.
Right.
Live footage, unless it's done like Royal Sons. I mean, Royal. The hell's the band I just mentioned at the beginning of the
Rival Sons.
Rival Sons.
Yeah.
So I think. Let me see my order. I have to list them in order. So yeah, I always like the live videos. So I'm gonna go with number 3. So I'm going way back into this time zone, this time area. I'm going to go to this time area.
Okay.
All right. We had to stop. We had a little laughing attack here.
Oh.
An old comedian said, sorry.
All
All right. So I'm going back around that time, 87
Yeah, we're doing
7 to 80. I guess this would be like 83 or 4.
Gotcha.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Photograph. When that came out, I really liked it.
Def Leppard.
Def Leppard.
Yep. Okay.
Still the Night.
Yeah.
And number 1 is Panama. And I always enjoyed.
We did not look at each other's.
I always enjoyed live rat footage stuff like they did.
All right. So I got. We start from bottom up, right?
I don't know where I started.
All right. So number 3, I got Still the Night. When that came out.
Yeah.
Well, first it took me a while to figure out who the hell was in the band because it's Whitesnake, and every time he comes out with an album, he got a whole new cast. So I'm like looking at these guys going, these aren't the guys that were in Whitesnake, but yet I know who these guys are. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's Tommy Alger, just Rudy Sarzo, that's Vivian Campbell from Dio, you know?
Yeah.
And just that whole video was awesome.
Who was the other guy? Was it Vandenberg?
Vandenberg.
Yeah.
But I didn't know him. I knew all the other guys. I wasn't familiar with him. Rat, You're in Love.
Yeah.
Fucking great. And it's the same thing you said, touched on. Live footage.
Well,
stuff.
because you know why? Back then.
It gave you a taste of what you're going to see.
Well, that and you didn't have YouTube to see what these bands are like live. So you saw you saw this video like, oh my God, I'm going to see that.
Yeah, it gave you a taste of what you were going to see.
You didn't get
that was it.
8 songs from that tour on YouTube.
No, because you got Lay It Down, which was a studio. It was a concept video. It wasn't anything live.
Yeah.
So the only thing you saw was, wow, that's what it's going to look like at the Rat Show.
So we recently took our kids to Blue Man Group, and we told them like the day we were going, and I go, do not go on YouTube and watch any of it.
You ruin it.
You got to be surprised. Don't watch any.
I do that with concerts. If I'm going to go see a concert, I'm tempted to go on YouTube and ruin it.
Yeah.
You know? And my number 1 was Panama.
That's
got to be the greatest. Well, we say live footage. It's not live.
They staged it all, but.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixture of both. But, first you got the plane going through the sky, and then the first thing you see is Dave running across the stage and jumping up on the the higher part of, and I'm like, and you already got tickets. You're like, holy fuck!
And then coming out of the solo, the shot from the back of the arena for Panama, and all the lights are
like
blaring.
I can't wait to go to this concert.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think you and I had 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. That's funny.
Same page.
Yeah.
That's why we have podcasts together.
A lot of arguing. A lot of disagreement.
Yeah, a lot of disagreement.
I taste metal. All right, wrap it up. Until next time.
Yep.
November. And we've already picked the 3 albums we're going to do.